Hello everyone, my name is Puddy, and welcome to the 52nd annual edition of the Sunday Puddcast, or just the Puddcast as we're now calling it. I actually did some research this morning. I was looking up, I was trying to get that email sorted. I've been promising it for kind of the last few episodes. I was trying to get that email sorted for you guys, so that you could contact the show officially, and we could work out some channels of getting some more viewer interaction going. And there already exists a podcast. It's a pretty recent invention. Obviously, my podcast is a lot older. My podcast has been going for about 5 years, even though we only got 52 episodes. And there is a podcast that started... oh, you're apparently not receiving data at a fast enough rate. What? But there's no frames dropping. It's probably just because it's a... it's probably just because it's a one-frame stream. If anybody is here yet and wants to give me any feedback on the stream, if you can hear me, you should be able to hear me. If you've got any issues, if the audio, but I'm actually going to turn down the music a little bit, just to try and make sure it doesn't outbalance me. It does seem to actually be competing with me here, so let me turn it down a little bit further. There you go. The audio should be good now. You should be able to hear me. Yeah, there's a guy who, I think his name is Puddlington or something like that, who has been running a podcast for, I think, about a year, just under a year. He is active. He ran a podcast like 3 days ago. It's like this religious podcast about Christianity and stuff. It's very weird to be associated with that. But yeah, there is another podcast. I think he would probably be more recognizable, so I think I'm fucked on the trademark. So hopefully I don't ever have to fight for that trademark. But what are we talking about today? I'm on my own today. It's the first time I've done a solo podcast in a while, maybe since like the summer of 2016. Because it's basically a spur of the moment thing. I don't usually stream in the mornings. But today I need to talk to you guys about what we discussed 2 podcasts ago on the 50th podcast. I talked about potentially the channel getting a little bit more active, and I still intend to follow through on that promise, but the methods by which we're going to make the channel a little bit more active have changed a little since last we spoke. So I was on the podcast with Marshall at the time, Marshall Peterson, who used to run the event Horizon X, and we talked about maybe porting a few of his old series over and perhaps starting a few new pieces of original content. That might still happen, but I can no longer guarantee it. It's no longer something... I mean, I could never guarantee it, but that's no longer a project that I'm actively... I've been talking with Marshall because we're not just, we're not just friends on air. We're not just friends on YouTube. I like to think we're pretty good friends off the air as well. And I've been talking to him recently about his free time and about stuff he's doing. And there are a couple of things that we do together. And I've realized that him producing content for this YouTube channel is not one of the things I prioritize in the time we spend together. So if he wants to do it, if he wants to spend his own free time on it, of course I'm not going to get in his way. I like to think that... oh. Apparently we're not receiving any data from my encoder. I'm dropping frames like crazy now. Huh. I'm going to drop my bitrate real quick. Like 2000 bitrate should be fine. Okay, I just checked the stream and you can hear me at least. So, let me know again if there's any problems with the stream. Hey, hello Tucker, how's it going? Let me know if there's any hitches in the stream. My encoder is freaking out because I don't think YouTube is used to streaming a picture with audio. I definitely don't think that is the standard on YouTube these days. But anyway, yes, back to what I was saying. Hopefully that... I might be back. I've re-enabled my encoder. If it keeps dropping off, I'll push back the stream till later. My internet's not the most reliable, but I've been streaming pretty consistently on Twitch this last week or so. That was going to be one of the topics earlier. Anyway, yeah, you should be getting back to hearing me now. Yeah, I've dropped the bitrate a little because I don't need any bitrate to stream an image, and hopefully nothing freaks out. I'm gonna close down Origin. I'm gonna close down Steam. I'm gonna close down Battle.net. I'm gonna close down all of the gaming apps that I have access to in case they're trying to sync cloud storage or something. That's probably it. I've noticed syncing cloud storage is, especially on Steam, takes a lot of my bandwidth in the Czech Republic, which is odd. I mean, to be fair, my Steam saves on the games that I play tend to be very big, but still, you'd think that was more of a background process than anything that would hog bandwidth. And the games I've been playing on Origin recently are trying to sync to the cloud, but I haven't noticed much slowdown when they do. Anyway, I'm going to keep an eye on my encoder. I'm going to channel ahead. I'm going to kind of restart my my train of thought. Apologies if on the recording my whole train of thought is in the video and I've repeated myself over and over again. Sorry, we're having technical issues, and I'm going to have to just start again. So, I want to talk about the channel. Last time we were on, I was with Marshall. We talked about potentially reinvigorating the channel by having content from him, old content and new content. I've talked with him since, and his free time is becoming more limited as the weeks in the next coming weeks, and having content for this channel is not something I prioritize when we're spending time together. So it's something I'm not going to be pushing for anymore. I can't control Marshall's free time at all, and I want him to feel like the channel is as much his as it is mine. So if he wants to pursue content on this channel, he is absolutely free to do so, but I cannot provide you guys with an update on that. I can't tell you what he's going to do or what he's going to plan. That is completely up to Marshall. His Twitter is, I think, at Marsh Peterson or something like that. I'll tweet it out after the show. And you can pester him if you want specific content from him. I will be on his RPG podcast if he does that. I will support him in whatever he wants to do, but I'm no longer going to be pushing for it or making it actively part of my projects because there are other things that I'd like to do with him. Other projects that I want to do that are unrelated to YouTube, and so I'm going to push for those instead. So, with that said, though, I made a promise 2 podcasts ago to reinvigorate the channel, and to some extent that has already happened, but lots of you probably don't know about it, because since the last podcast, I have swapped most of my streaming from my YouTube channel to my Twitch channel. Now, I'm very rarely been a streamer over the years, let's be honest. The most I've ever dabbled was in the summer of, 2015 or something, when I did a zombies marathon for Call of Duty, where I went through, every zombies map that was out at the time and tried to get to level 30 on all of them. To varying degrees of success. The streams did really well, actually. They popped off viewership-wise. I might do that again soon on YouTube. Maybe see if people are still interested in zombies. It had a few negative effects afterwards. People were only really there for the zombies. But it was still cool to see that kind of world of YouTube streaming and how easy the discovery was on YouTube. It was a very interesting experience for me. Ever since then, though, I haven't really streamed much. And when I have streamed, it's been on YouTube because my audience is here. When I do anything, it's usually on YouTube, and my Twitch channel is very quiet. But there's kind of a what's the word? A culture. There's a culture in the World of Warcraft raiding scene that encourages streaming your raids. It's something that my friends have done for the last maybe 2 or 3 years. Obviously, it's been a thing for a while. But nowadays, people at my level, which is World 300 to 800 level, it just seems to be commonplace. So, last 2 weeks, I've been streaming my World of Warcraft raids. They're on Mondays and Wednesdays, 7:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. European time. I've been streaming those on Mondays and Wednesdays, and a couple times I've streamed my casual raids on Friday, but nobody seemed to care. And I don't think any of my YouTube audience saw that, but a lot of my WoW community audience saw that. And those have been doing okay. I've been happy with how the streams are doing. And so, to keep more of a unified front, I'm going to move most of my streamed content over to Twitch. And that's, and when I say stream content, I think I'm talking specifically about me playing video games. So the podcast will probably stay on YouTube streaming because it just uploads as a video afterwards. It's a picture with audio, I don't think. And the way YouTube streaming works, you can be a bit more, I want to say medium impromptu, even though that feels like a contradiction. Like, with Twitch, it's very easy to go live right away. And it's also very easy to keep a schedule. But with YouTube, you hit that middle spot, where if you want to stream in like 4 hours, it has tools to kind of set it up nicely for you. Whereas with Twitch, you can't really like, oh, I'm going to be live in 4 hours, here's the specific event page. It's more like you either stream whenever, or you are a channel, you know what I mean? Like a television channel. Like, this is the place I go at this time, and this time, and I know it's going to be showing this. This is gonna be showing this. I know what it's like from kind of the history and the the type of content that this channel puts out, and I show up. Whereas with YouTube, it feels more like it feels like YouTube videos, but live, you know what I mean? And you kind of, I guess it feels even better than that. It's like these new YouTube premieres, which I hate. I don't think YouTube premieres is a good system. But it's that kind of, if it was all live stream and you couldn't do this new rerun thing they're doing, then I kind of like that. But yeah, anyway, that's rambling. My announcement is that I will be moving most, if not all, of my video game stuff to Twitch, and I'm going to be active in it. Very active, I think, starting later tonight. So this is going to go up on the YouTube channel as a video afterwards. I'm going to promote it as much as I can on Twitter to try and get as many of the audience that are here still watching this. So if you are watching this not live, I am streaming, possibly right now. I'm streaming tonight, 31st of March. Yep, I know the month. Time is definitely a thing. 31st of March, I'm going to be streaming tonight, and it's going to be not only a live stream, but it is going to be in service of my next Let's Play, which is finally happening, and it's been a very long time, and I'm going to announce it later in this video. But it is a game that I've been meaning to do for a very long time, and maybe this time it will fail as well. But I'm going to give it another shot, because fuck it, if we tried for 5 years, I might as well try it again. So that's the first series. That one I'm going to talk a lot more in detail later. I have another concept series. Basically what I'm announcing is Marshall might not be doing any content on the channel. He might not, I can't guarantee it. So I am going to do content on this channel, I think. I have 2 series in the pipeline, one of which is the streamed one, and this other one which I've come up with this morning in concept, and I think might be interesting. So I know a lot of my channel is UK-based or European-based, and I know that a lot of the old not a lot of, but a decent chunk of old TEW guys are British, who kind of are into British sports culture. And I'm into British sports culture, I'm a big football fan, and I play Football Manager most years, and I've done Football Manager on the channel before, and I've even done this concept before, but nobody watching this video will remember this series. So I think it was 5 or 6 years ago, I did a Football Manager series on Project Synergy UK, which was a community channel I used to be a part of. It's where the podcast came from, actually. And we did a Football Manager series where I put all of the people who were in that community into the game, and I played. And it didn't last very long, but I still think it was a very cool idea. And I think my problem with that was I made them shit. And while that kind of fit, because it meant they would probably stay in the team, I have an idea that I'm going to try and make a community-driven Football Manager series, but everyone that gets added is really fucking good. And we're going to start at a shit team. So the players that get added are probably going to leave the team, but I think that's going to be part of the experience to see where these community-driven players end up going, and it's going to be more of a macro series. Most Football Manager series are very micro. At most, they're like season by season. Sometimes they're game by game. This one is going to be much more like, okay, what is happening on like multiple year basis, and we will probably take it season by season, but we'll do it. We won't necessarily focus on the progress of the team. I might not even try to do well. I might just throw like a random tactic and random selections out there and see if we can just stay like in the shit tiers of English football and just see what our great players do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put people that I know from the YouTube community in there that want to be involved. I'm going to reach out to people. And obviously I don't know that many people, but the TW guys I used to work with, Marshall, a few people that I do RPGs with. And then I want to put viewers in. And I think perhaps there might be enough people from the old TW series that like football and would be interested in this, that you'd actually be interested in doing it. So if you're watching this not live, and anybody who is watching it live and is interested in that, this is why I wish I had the fucking email ready, but unfortunately someone stole Puddcast email. But I will put my Discord in the description of the... I'll tweet out my Discord later, and I'll put my Discord link, my Discord name, in the description of the non-live video. And if you are interested, you can contact me on Discord, and I'll put a spreadsheet together or something, and I'll make more of a formal announcement video in a few days and see if there's a little bit more interest. And even if I don't get viewers straight away, I'll put in people that I know, and I want to start this next month sometime. I don't think it'll be a streamed series, but it might be. Yeah, the way I play Football Manager is definitely not something I don't think most people will want to watch. But maybe, who knows. Anyway, that series is in concept. Later today, I am going to be streaming on Twitch. And the game I'm going to play is Deus Ex 3. Deus Ex Human Revolution. It is a game that if you've been following this channel for any length of time, you've probably seen once or twice. I've done, I think, 3 attempts at doing it as a normal Let's Play in various different styles. Old style, kind of mid-style during the New Vegas era, and kind of Neo style. Just typical Let's Play stuff with various levels of quality. It's never gotten past, like, the second hub. I think I got to the second hub, like, once. And then one time I tried to stream it, but it was immediately following the kind of zombies explosion. And the reception that it got at the time was, I suppose muted would be fair. Outraged might be fairer. And, yeah, I think there's definitely been mixed attempts to play Deus Ex on the channel. Human Revolution is a fantastic game, one of my favorites of that era, and I haven't played it in a while, but I still think I know the game quite well. And I've played, and I recently was playing Mankind Divided again, so I'm not completely out of practice on Deus Ex. I don't know if I'm gonna play it on like the hardest difficulty because it's streamed and because I'm probably not gonna do any editing on the Let's Play parts. If I play it on the highest difficulty, then it will probably end up being a lot of save scums. Well, actually, I think there's like a no save difficulty, and fuck that for a game of soldiers. Yeah, fuck that. But I might play on, the hardest difficulty that isn't permadeath. But that would probably end up me save scumming a lot, because I tend to do that in Deus Ex. Or I'll play it on like the middle difficulty and probably have no troubles with the game. Probably. Hopefully. I don't know, I might take suggestions from the chat if it's active and see what we're gonna do with it. But yeah, I'm hoping to get at least a couple hours in tonight. I didn't sleep much this morning, and I won't be able to start till like 7, 8 Euro time. So I think 2 hours would be reasonable this evening. Might do more then. But yeah, the link to the Twitch is in the description, and I'm going to do that. So that's the channel update stuff mostly out of the way. I will respond to Tucker's comment about being stuck on Jaina. Yeah, it is pretty wild. We've had 240 something. Actually, I can check. Hold on a second. You guys will actually see me switch over to, here we go. We have had 241 attempts on the boss. Yeah, it's definitely, I don't like the boss. It's definitely fun from a story perspective, but compared to the last few bosses, it's very random. And it's not a boss I'm enjoying a ton, but the people I'm doing it with are enjoyable to play with, so I'm bearing through it. aside from that, the other thing I want to talk about was like game releases this year. Because this feels to me like 2011, I think it was. 2011 was the last time I got like really excited about not pre-ordering, but like video games that were coming. I did pre-order most of them, but I don't really pre-order video games anymore. Because, with the amount of times the video games come out and they're nowhere near as advertised, there's just no point most of the time. There are occasional times where I'll play an entry in a franchise, whether I'm gonna like it or not, just to see how it is, and I want to see for myself. And in those cases, I might as well just pre-order it, because even if it's bad, I want to see it for myself. Although those series are definitely running dry. I didn't buy the most recent Fallout game because I didn't care. If I heard it was good, I would buy it. But well, I did not hear that it was good, so I've steered away from that one, and I won't be buying another Fallout game unless people are like, "Oh yeah, this one's really good," and I need to hear it from people who like were critical of Fallout 4, because if they're like, "Oh yeah, this one's really good," and then I look back and they're like, "Oh yeah, Fallout 4 is really good," then I probably wouldn't like the new one either. So yeah, I'll go to trusted people and see what they think about it. But there are some franchises, like Pokemon's a good example, and that's one of the games I'm going to talk about now, where, for now, I'm still willing to pretty much buy any of the main ones. I almost didn't buy the Switch games from last year. It's one of my, like, biggest step downs from a pedestal that I've had in video games that I feel actually genuinely bad about, because I was like, I really don't want to buy these Let's Go games, because I think they look terrible, and I'm not going to enjoy them. So I might as well not give them money and add to the success, the no doubt success these games are going to have. And for a few months, I didn't buy them, and I felt pretty good about that. And then just one day, I was watching footage of it, and I was like, I should give this a go. And I just what's the word? Instinctively, isn't it? It was there's no word for it. It's close to instinctively, but I just grabbed it. I played 2 hours of it and I got bored as hell. I was like, I knew I wouldn't like this. I wish I hadn't bought this game, and I haven't played it since. So that was definitely not money well spent on that game. But the new ones are apparently going to be more main series, and I have my doubts about that series. But I like VGC. I like the competitive scene, so I might enjoy them for that, depending on what the new stuff comes out. I've been playing a lot of the old stuff recently, and I still really enjoy those games. And yeah, I don't think impulsive. Yeah, I think impulse was the right. I think impulse was definitely the word I was looking for. The cycle used to be. Not used to be, but there were a couple gens where you could kind of tell there was a bit of a cycle going on, right? Gen 4 felt very similar to Gen 6. Gen 5 was very different. But Gen 6 and Gen 7 have been pretty much the same. I think now that it's over and we can look back, the 6th generation, the 3DS era of Pokemon was really bad. And not in like a, oh my god, these games are trash kind of way, but like if you compare it to the DS era, which was really good. Just a massive step downwards, for the most part. I like a lot of the new stuff that got introduced, but it never got refined. And that's my biggest thing with Pokemon, is they change so much. So many people complain about Pokemon never changing. My complaint has always been the complete opposite. They change too much too quickly, and they come in and they're like, oh, here's this mechanic, and here's this mechanic, and here's this mechanic. And then they, the next game that comes out, they're like, well, let's drop this mechanic and drop that mechanic, and well, we'll keep that one. And it feels like they basically just throw a bunch of shit at a wall, and even when it sticks, sometimes they scrub it off. So I don't know. I think I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm gonna get the games and I'm gonna see what they're like. And they're on Switch too, so I think, and I'll be in the UK as long as they don't bar me from re-entering. So I should have a capture card laying around somewhere that I could potentially play it as content, but I'm not sure. I'm waiting for gameplay to make my final judgments on them. Look, I could still not buy them. My default position is I'm buying them, But, you know, if they're like, oh, abilities are still gone, and held items are still gone, and wild encounters are still gone, EVs are gone, and breeding is gone, and fuck you. Even half of those things happen, I might just say fuck it. I've got my, like, 8 games that I can go back to from Gen 4 to Gen 7, because I don't mind the Gen 7 games, they're not awful. The battle tree is... Gen 7's post-game is slightly better than Gen 6's. It's just a shame it's not Gen 5's or Gen 4's. So yeah, that's those games. And then, of course, we had the Borderlands 3 trailer recently, which I haven't seen. So maybe I shouldn't talk about this, because I haven't seen the trailer. All I needed to know was that the game got announced. And once I saw, oh, the trailer's been announced, that was all the information I needed to know, right? Like, I don't think anything I could have watched in that trailer would have really changed my opinion on what Borderlands 3 is going to be. And that's the impression I got from people who have seen it. And again, it's probably like 2 minutes, so I should just go watch it. Would Take-Two kill me if I played it on stream? Take-Two, would you kill me if I played it on stream? Ah, fuck it. Shall we? Oh my god. One sec. I'm gonna... God, it's free advertising. Surely, oh, I'm conflicted now. I'm gonna have a check. Yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna play it, and if my channel dies today, we died gloriously. I mean, there are people uploading it, so fuck it. Let's live dangerously, shall we? Shall we live a little dangerously this evening? Let me add a scene. The scene that kills my channel. Kappa. Add source. Window capture. Nope. Window capture. It's not that window, you idiot. It's that one. Okay. Why is it not capturing? What is wrong with this window capture? I could do monitor capture, actually. That's a better idea. You can see I'm a professional streamer because I have all of these scenes set up ahead of time. Right? Wait, does it not have monitor capture anymore? Media source? No. Display capture, there it is. It's not called monitor. Oh god, that's the wrong monitor. Oh god. No. Let's not do that. Let's not show no, there was nothing. No, there wasn't anything. Okay, cool. We good. For some reason, my right monitor just will not capture, though. Oh, is it because of... Oh, it's... HDMI is, like, really thingy about being captured, isn't it? Forgot about that. Yeah. HDMI has, like, copyright protection built into it. Well, I think I have to capture my DisplayPort monitor. Which is a little more awkward. Because it's a different resolution. Professional streamer, by the way. Here. Okay. Is there anything in my tabs that I, No. I don't think so. Alright. Good. Let's go. Let's have Take-Two absolutely destroy me. Oh, before we do, I should turn off the... Deus Ex music I have playing in the background here. All right. See, it doesn't fit the screen. Transform. Fit the screen. There you go. Okay. All right, take two. Don't kill me. Yeah, Tucker, that's what we call the trifecta. You know, if Take Two doesn't kill me, I'm sure whoever did this song is going to. Oh, it was Chris. Well, that certainly looks like Borderlands, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know what else I expected, I gotta be honest. That was pretty much exactly what I thought that trailer was gonna be, not gonna lie. Oh. I like how my YouTube... What? What happened to my, Oh, it's over there. I was like, oh, Jesus, is my stream already down? No. I want to check. I just realized earlier today when I was trying to set up the podcast email that I have a separate email account that's linked to my YouTube. And it has a bunch of copyright claims on it from the last few months. I just want to open it to see if I've got like a copyright claim on the stream yet. Nope. Cool. The government haven't shut me down yet. So yeah, I mean, it looks like Borderlands. Meh. Shrug shoulders. If it ain't broke, am I right? I haven't been enamored with Borderlands recently, but I have occasionally played it, and it is a good concept. It is a good formula, done well, and I see no reason why they need to innovate on it. So, got absolutely nothing wrong with them taking a more iterative approach. Hope it's good. Gonna buy it probably, almost certainly. And yeah, while I was watching that, it reminded me of a game I wasn't going to talk about, but I am now. The Outer Worlds, which is, if you haven't heard of it, it's Obsidian. I think they're still called Obsidian. Maybe. I don't remember. I hope Microsoft haven't renamed them. They probably have. But Obsidian are making a game, kind of a futuristic sci-fi, colorful Americana shooter of sorts. I mean, they've obviously made a very successful one of those before. Looks a little different. I'm cautiously optimistic about that from a gameplay perspective too, but I recently discovered that that's going to be exclusive to like the Epic Game Store for like a year. So I don't know if I'm going to buy that this year because I'm still not entirely sure how I feel about that whole Epic Game Store exclusivity thing. I'm generally... Oh, Jesus, I should not do that voice. My throat is dying. 1 second. I'm generally anti-exclusive in almost every gaming regard. I think it's stupid, essentially. If you can't sell your hardware through hardware, then I suppose no. I don't know. I don't like game hardware, and it's not even hardware at this point, right? I take the exclusivity thing from a console perspective because that's where it kind of started, and that was where I thought, like, you know, the hardware should sell. Like, this should be the best place to play the game, not this is the only place to play the game. But now they're not even selling hardware; they're selling software by giving you exclusivity on other pieces of software. I don't know how I feel about that shit. I'll have to come up with some sort of moral justification for whether I am or am not buying The Outer Worlds. I certainly would rather if it was just on Steam. But also, Steam being a monopoly is also a bad thing. So, yeah, again, it's complicated. Could do a whole podcast on it. Wouldn't want to do it on my own. Would like to bring someone who knows more about it and someone who could chat shit for a little bit. So... not going to go into it, but The Outer Worlds looks good. It looks like my type of game, and it's been a while since a game released where I've been like, that's my type of game. I almost had it with Tyranny, which was another Obsidian game, if I remember correctly. That came out a few years ago, and I was like, man, that looks like my type of thing. And then I started reading about it, and it just didn't live up to the promises the marketing made. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to give this a go, just because like that's a lot of time and money to drop on a hobby that might just be garbage. Not hobby, but like it is a hobby, but it's not. The game isn't a hobby; it's a part of the hobby, like an endeavor. Like it'd be a weekend wasted if the game is trash. So I just decided to go for stuff that is more generally acclaimed and stick to that. Although I gotta admit, like I do question sometimes the kind of monotonousness of my gaming habits these days, but I keep it fresh with tabletop games. So aside from that, I also wanted to mention the new Hearthstone expansion, which drops next week, I want to say. I've already spent a lot of money on that because I'm stupid. I thought I've been trying to build up gold and rewards and kind of an account on Hearthstone that can dump into the new expansion when it comes out, because the first expansion of a year is always the most important to dump into, because it's going to be around the longest, right? The second and third expansions of a year only get a year and a half and or like a year and 2/3 and a year and a third worth of play respectively, whereas the first set always gets a full 2 years, and those sets are often some of the most powerful. Last year was Witchwood, and they had Baku and Gen, and Baku and Gen were just completely oppressive, so much so they're getting rotated out early. So that's the biggest example of how powerful Witchwood was. And then the year before that, was it KFC? Not KFC, KFT, right? Yeah, KFT. I always want to say KFC, it's KFT. No, it was Angora, right? Angora wasn't that strong in the grand scheme of things, but all three of those sets were pretty strong. Angoro, KFT, and Kobolds and Catacombs. They were all really strong sets with very strong thematic elements that just created archetypes. You know, with Angoro it was the quests, with KFT it was the heroes, and with Kobolds it was the weapons. And a lot of those cards created archetypes. You know, we're talking about Quest Warrior, Quest Mage, Quest Rogue until it got nerfed. I think that was it. Quest Priest a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. There's probably more that I'm forgetting, but those were the ones that I remember. And then for the heroes in KFT, the Druid one was just good. It was just running almost every Druid archetype afterwards, but it didn't really change much. It was just really good. The Hunter one created a Value Hunter, something that we hadn't seen before, probably will never see again. The Mage one was basically, you know, in control versus control matchups, and control versus control matchups, and even control versus aggro, the Mage hero just won you the game when it was if it was played. The Priest one was really good before it got nerfed, when you had Kazakus still in the format. The Paladin one was, you know, an archetype creator that was never really top tier, so people don't really remember it as being an archetype creator, but it definitely had an archetype it made. I'm trying to think of the other ones that were good. Oh, Blood Reaver Gul'dan, of course, was exceptional in that Q block era. But most of them were bolstered by the weapons. Obviously, Skull of the Minari for Warlock was ridiculous. Lochthar, I think it was, or Lochthalar for the Hunters in Kobolds was not ridiculously, but it was a huge part of the leader spell hunter stuff that eventually came out. Aluneth was really good, but I don't think it saw a ton of play. The Twig of the World Tree for Druid was absolutely absurd. Big archetype creation. So anyway, yeah, I'm just saying, yeah, Ungora wasn't particularly influential that year, but only because it was surrounded by massive sets. Most years, the first sets are quite powerful. And if you invest really heavily in the first 3 months of a season, you have the basis of what the decks are going to be for quite a while, usually. So, yeah, basically. So I'm going hard on the Hearthstone expansion. Maybe I'll stream it. I don't know. I've been like doing better at Hearthstone recently, but I'm still not worth watching. I'm laddering to like rank 6 or something every season in both formats. I've been playing a bit of Wild as well, so I don't think it's worth watching. That's for sure. But I'm going to be playing a lot of that. I can't think of anything. I'm going to read these comments about the Epic Game Store because I'm curious. So exclusivity will hurt Obsidian. Well, I think Obsidian aren't really bothered about how much the game sells financially. Obviously, they want it to sell massively because everyone always does. But because it's being published by Microsoft, I think they're okay. I think their contract is probably pretty solid. Apparently, a lot of people who use the Epic Game Store don't like it. Local minority companies switching them by interior. Well, yeah. Yeah, The Outer Worlds is the name of the game. It's not one word. It is a single player. Well, it's been advertised as a single player. I still have my Murloc deck, but it doesn't play in standard anymore. It's in the Wild Anything Goes format, and it's not great. I'm going to be honest with you. I want to make a Baku Murloc deck so I can... I don't know. I don't know where that will lead me, but one day it will lead me to the promised land. They haven't had Murloc support in ages. Like, the best Murloc card rotated out as soon as the standard format existed. So, you know, they definitely haven't been supporting old Putty over here. But I've moved on since the days of the Murloc hordes. Yeah, back on the Outer Worlds. Many platforms have tried to do this. Origin, Uplay is the name of the Ubisoft one, I think. Battle.net. I think the only one that's done it successfully is Battle.net. But it's not like Battle.net is not taking a chunk out of Steam's market share. That's for sure. Battle.net is a niche product, and it is designed to be. And I think it does pretty well, too, because that's... I mean, you talk about the Epic Game stuff being terrible at the social interaction. That's all Battle.net does. That was the whole point of it. So it does the social stuff pretty well, luckily. And there's a bit of marketing as well. You know, advertises when one of the games is being streamed in a high-profile event. Stuff like that. So Battle.net does a pretty good job. But I still would prefer if the Battle.net games were on Steam, but they're not, so whatever. Oh, that's another thing. I mean, the Battle.net store opens up opportunities to do really cool stuff, like the WoW token. So if you don't know, the Battle.net economy. Battle.net is basically a storefront slash social client slash games client on PC, and I think mobile too, probably some other formats, that runs the Blizzard games plus some select Activision games. Oh, I'm dropping frames. Oh, apparently I'm not dropping frames. I'm going to restart the Battle.net conversation real quick. So, yeah, Battle.net is basically an online social platform that also sells games and kind of provides like a interplay between games. And one of the cool things that does is that when you make in-game currency in World of Warcraft, you can turn that into Battle.net real currency. And you can't, like, withdraw it. You can't sell your in-game currency to make money, but you can sell your in-game currency to buy things that are worth real money from the Battle.net store. So you can buy the new Call of Duty game with World of Warcraft's in-game currency. You can buy Overwatch with it. You can buy Hearthstone packs. You can buy all of the there's a bajillion Warcraft services like character transfers and name changes and stuff. Like, I spend so much in-game currency on that stuff. You know, you can pay for your subscription, your World of Warcraft subscription with in-game currency, stuff like that, and that's cool, and that's only possible with such a integrated in-game, one company marketplace. I think that's only possible with that kind of closed loop economy. So I think if anybody's going to try and do what Origin and Uplay, and I laugh at Uplay because when the PC before this one, which I forgot what I called. Fuck. I'm always like really like thinking about my computer, about the names of my computers. And I really liked the one before the one I currently have. It was an absolute chunky monster, and it lived well past its expiration date. But I know what this one's called, From Prussia with Love, and that's a long story. But what was the last one? It was like a black case with red lighting all over it. It was quite a short name. I think it was called Big Bertha or something like that. I don't remember. But that computer, the graphics card in it, a GTX 770 Ti, maybe just the 770, that came with Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which was pretty good. I didn't like it as much as everybody else seemed to. And by that I just mean I didn't like play it a ton. I think I played it like 10, 15 hours and then said, alright, that's good for me. I enjoyed it, but I didn't like, oh, this is revolutionary for the Assassin's Creed franchise. A couple of years later I actually bought Assassin's Creed 1 and 2 on Steam, because I think Brotherhood is pretty good. I never got to Brotherhood, but I played 1 again. I was like, oh yeah, this is really fun. I still prefer 1 to Black Flag. But maybe I would really enjoy Black Flag going back to it now. I don't know. But yeah, I had to go on Uplay for that. I'm pretty sure Spore might be on Uplay as well, or maybe Spore is on Origin. And I remember getting my disc of Spore a long time ago. A long time ago. Spore is one of the first games where I was like, oh, this is going to be so good. And I bought it. It was a disc. I brought it home. It was really late at night. It was like 2 a.m. when it finished installing. I was like, what's this Uplay thing? I don't understand. Or maybe it was afterwards or something. I don't know. At some point, maybe it was when I had to reinstall Spore. I don't think when Spore originally came out. I think it was Origin. It was either Uplay or Origin. I think Spore is Origin, but I don't know. It was one of the two. And I don't think it came out with Origin/Uplay. I think it was afterwards. But at one point, I had to use Origin/Uplay to play Spore. And I was like, what is this? This is stupid. And I still think that, because I'm playing Origin games now, and it's stupid. It's just, the service is just not as good as Steam. They should just work with Steam. I don't know. Again, I don't like monopolies or anything, but like, Steam have such a good fucking attitude, man. Like, when you hear the principle of piracy as a service problem, it just makes sense how Steam's great. Steam has revolutionized gaming in my eyes because of how aggressively it pushes to grab sales. I'm sure that fucks over game devs, but the sales are a huge part of why PC gaming is affordable, and more affordable in most stages of the cycle than console gaming. There's a brief window where console gaming is more affordable than PC gaming, and that's like the first year the console is out, because they're shipping this pretty high-powered hardware, and they're giving you a massive discount on it, because they don't make money on the hardware they make. Well, I think they do these days. But what it used to be in the console market is that they didn't make money on the hardware, they'd make money on the software. So they just wanted to get you the hardware so they could sell you the software. But with the most recent set of consoles, they didn't even make money on the hardware. I'm pretty sure they just sold you a ship PC for the same price as if you had built it. And but anyway, I remember the PS2 came out. And the PS2 was really, really powerful for the price. Like, if you tried to build a PC at the same price as a PS2, you'd come nowhere near. But the problem with consoles is that they mostly never update, and that's another thing that's different about this generation of consoles, is that they did make a new set of hardware. But that's got the same problem, but it's just kind of pushing it back a bit, where it's like, okay, this hardware was really good for the price when it came out, but this is a console that's meant to last like 4 or 5 years, and in 3 years, that hardware is going to be trash, and you've only lowered the price like $100 since then. And PCs for the same price have come so far since then that they just get left behind so quickly. Yeah, that's basically the problem with that stuff. But there's a brief window where they are more affordable. But the games are never that affordable. Console games are ridiculously expensive. I don't buy anything on PC unless it's like under under £10, unless it's like something I'm really excited about. And I have like hundreds of Steam games, and I average probably spent about £4 or £5 on average on each one, because there are some I've got for literally like £1, and they're good games too. I think Fallout New Vegas, my favorite game of all time, you can get it and all the DLC for like £3-4 on one of the sales. You can get like a few of the indie titles that are really good, like Undertale or Stardew Valley or Terraria, right? They go down to like less than the price of a fucking Big Mac sometimes on Steam. It's ridiculous. And yeah, I'd say that like if the Epic Game Store, if Origin, if Uplay want to like have this software service platform that they clearly want to do, then you've either got to go the Steam route, which is really good service, great library, great discovery, good discovery. Discovery has a few problems. And curation also has a lot of problems, like literal viruses being sold on Steam because Greenlight is a thing. I think it was through Greenlight, but I know literal viruses have been sold on that platform. So they definitely don't have the problems. But a good fucking library, decent discovery, decent service. These days, a pretty liberal refund policy, decent demo policy, and very aggressive sales. Or you go down the kind of Blizzard route, where everything's kind of in-house. You know what you're getting. It's all highly curated products. There's only a few number of games on the store, but you know that they're all high-end titles. They're kind of classic titles of that studio that you associate with that studio. You know, you look at Blizzard, you think Warcraft, you think StarCraft. These days, you think Hearthstone, you think Overwatch. Yeah, you think Overwatch, but completely lost my train of thought because I saw a comment. Yeah, you go Blizzard, you get niche games, and you make sure that you make that internal economy work, and you really like exploit that, like doing cool things about that internal economy. Because the Blizzard shit's super expensive. All the stuff on Battle.net is more expensive than if it were on Steam, but I think people are slightly more willing to put up with it because the stuff they do with their internal economy is pretty cool. Steam tried to do it, like Steam trading cards and stuff, but it didn't quite work. Tucker mentioned about not getting into PC because the moment I spend some odd $100 on one part, it would be out of date in a month. That's the thing with the PC is that you spend like a couple $100 on a part, and most of the time you can upgrade a different part, and that part, the old part that you spent, is still getting some good value out of it. Whereas with console, you spend $400 on a brick, and in a couple months it's out of date, guaranteed. So that particular fear is definitely lessened on PC rather than console. Most of the time, if you're spending something that's modern, then you can definitely get your value out of it. Also, you know, prices don't tend to dip these days as well. That's something I found because I bought my graphics card. I just bought a month later. A new generation of graphics cards got announced, and I was like, oh, I should just sell this graphics card and buy the new ones, because usually the old graphics cards are about the same price as the new ones, but the new ones are way better. Usually, I mean, that's very simplistic. I'm not trying to like explain actual hardware pricing to you, but these days the gains that you're getting from generation to generation and the prices aren't necessarily going down. So God, that's one thing. I definitely don't think the last 2 or 3 years have been the time to get into PC gaming for the first time. If you already know your way around the market, then it's not that big of a deal. You'll look at like the 101 graphics cards that are ridiculously overpriced, and you'll think, okay, those are ridiculously overpriced. But you will eventually find one that hasn't been inflated, and you know, you'll wait for those dips. But if you're just getting into it for the first time and you're looking at graphics card and RAM prices and you're like, whoa, is that how much graphics cards and RAM is supposed to cost? No, it isn't. There are 2 major world crises that have inflated those prices massively, although I think the graphics cards have definitely crashed because cryptocurrency is basically dead. I don't think the NAND flash shortage is over yet, but I've kind of come to accept our new DDR4 overlords, and I'm just going to accept that RAM is now going to be expensive forever, as are SSDs. That is the world we now live in. But yeah, it is what it is. It's still it's about a lot of hassle these days with the way that fucking companies are doing hardware development. But if you it's still safer. It's safer and cheaper to do PC gaming because you don't get fucked over. You have a lot more control, but it's not as easy to get into as it was for a brief period in the early 2010s because cryptocurrency mining and the NAND flash shortage have made prices more volatile. Whereas for consoles, the prices aren't really volatile at all, because even if it turns out that the console manufacturers are starting to make a loss on the hardware, which is unlikely because their hardware is getting cheaper every day because they're not updating their hardware at all. So their hardware is fucking old. I think a lot of it is either in-house or they're contracting it. So it's not going to go out of production either, right? Because they've got contracts with AMD and Nvidia. I think it's just Nvidia this generation. But it could also just be AMD. I don't follow it that closely. To produce this, I think they usually APUs in consoles. So they're never gonna have to worry about like a shortage of production. They have to worry about a shortage of materials like everybody else with the NAND flash thing. But if that's their only rising, like their APUs are not gonna go up in price because of the cryptocurrency stuff. That's a purely consumer phenomena, unfortunately. And yeah, it means that their profit margins are probably going to just get better and better over the years, unless they keep releasing these like Xbox One Scorpio thing that they keep doing. In which case their hardware costs take a brief spike and then continue to decline. But again, the console business has never been about selling the hardware. It's about the ridiculous commission they take on all the games sold, which is why console games are so expensive. Because on Steam, they don't take as much. I don't really know what the cuts are, but that's kind of one of the reasons why Steam can offer the games way cheaper. Because on Xbox, you've got to like pay Microsoft your fucking kidney. and you got to afford, you got to charge enough for the game to afford to get a new kidney. And kidneys are expensive. So that's why they have to do that shit. Right. I don't know what I was talking. Oh, the Epic Game Store, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what my thoughts are on that. If it doesn't affect me personally, my problem is oh god, I'm throwing things across the room now. My problem is if I buy the Outer Worlds and I end up really liking it, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to buy it on Steam when it comes out as well, because I can just have it more convenient. So that's going to be a ball ache. Maybe Outer Worlds is just one of those games I wait a week and see if anybody likes it. And if they do, I'll buy it. Yeah, that's probably a good shout. Have I covered everything? Hearthstone new expansion comes out next week. I'm going to play that. The World of Warcraft new raid comes out April 17th, 16th in the US. I want to kill Jaina before then. I have a lot of faith that we can do so. If you want to check out my Jaina prog, it is in the Twitch channel, linked in the description, where I will be streaming Deus Ex Human Revolution this evening. Deus Ex 3, also being recording for my Let's Play. Hopefully, that will start up next week. Hopefully. Other than that, I may also play zombies. I may also play Football Manager over on my Twitch channel. I will be picking up Pokemon Sword/Shield, one or the other, or both, at the end of the year, and you can probably expect to hear about that on the podcast if I am so inclined, unless they announce something that makes me think these games are going to be garbage, and then I won't buy them. I will probably play Borderlands 3 when it comes out. I might stream that, depending on how many of my buds that like the YouTubes get it. And if enough do, then we may stream it together. We will see. If he's not too busy around the release date, I imagine Marshall would be into that, and possibly Chris. So we will have to have a gander. And then, of course, as I just finished mentioning, when Outer Worlds comes out, which I saw on Wikipedia, it might actually be 2020, but all I've heard is that it's coming out this year. So until I hear from the geese's mouth, I'm going to stick to thinking it's coming out this year. So if it comes out, and I don't know, I'm going to do a little bit more research on the Epic Game Store thing. But if I really hate it, because I think it's also on the Windows Store, but that seems way worse. If I really hate their service platforms, I'll just wait a week. If the game seems like it's a fucking awesome spiritual successor to Fallout and Wasteland and such, although I don't think it's going to be much of a successor to Wasteland. It looks like more of a Fallout 2 game than a Fallout 1 game, which is good. I mean, I love Fallout 2, so A-okay with me. And it looks like it's its own thing. I think the Outer Worlds Fallout comparisons are bound to happen. It looks like a mix of kind of Borderlands and Fallout. And it feels like there's a bit more Borderlands in there than Fallout. But, Obsidian have a pedigree for RPGs. So I'm really hoping that if it is a fun space looter shooter, that at least there is some good story in it. I would enjoy that. I'll wait for if I hate the stores, then I'll wait for the opinions to come out. And if they're good, I'll pick it up. And you can be sure that if I really like that game and do think it is a worthy spiritual successor to the Fallout franchise, that it will definitely make an appearance on this channel. That is for damn sure. I've been thinking about playing Fallout 1, Fallout 2 on the channel. If the streams start to do well, and I feel encouraged to start streaming some more, then the world is my oyster. If you'd like to get involved with the Football Manager series or appear on the podcast, you can contact me at my Discord, which if you're watching this on the VOD, will be linked in the description, along with my Twitch, my Twitter, and that's about it. Any inquiries, you can contact me on Discord. Sorry, we haven't had a podcast since the Tucker thing, although I think WrestleMania is this weekend, and if it is, I am going to Inquisition that Canadian to do quite a few shows this weekend. So hopefully he will be down to do that and potentially invest or mooch some streaming services to broaden his horizons this WrestleMania weekend. And we can have a gander. And you can be damn sure at the very least you'll have a show on Sunday or Monday, talking about the shittiest show of them all. Because there is a lot to talk about. Our last video didn't very accurately predict what was going to go on. So, yeah. I think that brings us to a close. I hope if anyone made it through this, either in live or in VOD, that you enjoyed some of it, that you found some use in some of it, and perhaps you got excited about other bits. I will be back, hopefully, for a gaggle of weekend shows, previewing the action of WrestleMania weekend, and reviewing it as it comes and goes. I would very much enjoy a big weekend. Yeah. So, look forward to that. I will see you guys on Twitch, hopefully, tonight. And other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Stay classy, San Diego.